metaphor of having the heart, which is why I'm wandering around with a giant heart. So if you see me, or you see my other character, Chimmy, which is a red fox with black eyes, if you see either of us wandering around and you want to be in the video, just come up and you can hug the heart in the video. Okay, I'm gonna go right back to the start because we've got new people coming in. Hey, Randa, your new friends walked in. So, let's go back to the beginning. Is it recording? Great. So for those who don't know, my name's Queenie Deerhart. Her full character name is Queenie Octavia Christina Deerhart. She's one of two fursuits that I own. The other one is Chimichanga the Fox. Hey, how's it going? Chimmy's a big, fat fox who is trying to be the best dad he can be. She is an annoying, immortal, time-traveling border collie. Her backstory I will come to later. My real name's Nikki. I am a YouTuber by profession. I trained as a classical musician at the Guildhall School of Music and Drama in London, and part of that was learning to sing and speak properly. I've done quite a lot of radio work, I've done a little bit of TV work, and as I say, these days I make my money on YouTube, writing and talking about cars. So, now we're underway, we can actually talk about the specifics of talking in suit. So who here has a fursuit? Wow, great. Who here doesn't have a fursuit but wants one? Yeah, okay. Who here has a suit that they talk in regularly and they're like, yep, I'll talk in suit, okay? Who here doesn't talk in suit? And keep your hands up if you don't talk in suit because you feel uncomfortable doing it. Okay, right, all right. So who here doesn't talk in suit because they think suits shouldn't talk? Cool, I'm glad you're here because maybe I can change your mind about that. Fantastic, brilliant. All right, so I did at the beginning when people were coming in, I was gonna ask people to tell me some of their experiences about speaking in suit. We'll maybe come to that a bit later on because we're a bit time constrained now and I want to get to the Q&As and the practical stuff. So why should you speak in suit? Any ideas?
I speak, when I'm out front, I'll talk because the general public does not know how to handle this.
Yes, exactly. That is a great idea.
Because it's especially important that if you can see there's if you're they're getting confused about whether it's a character or just a guy in a costume, that's sort of turning away from fursuits when I was younger, wait, why is he talking at Disney, or that sort of freaking me out, and it's
yeah, exactly. So talking in suit can help you interact with people, especially in a public suiting experience. If you're in a convention and that you are in a convention and you are talking in a convention, it's easier to communicate with mime than if you're in public. If you're in public, sometimes talking is a lot easier. So I've had this situation before, and I'm sure you have. Do you want to get up, Snorkel? Where you come up to someone. I need a volunteer. Who wants to be my volunteer? Do you want to come up? Oh my God, you've got a pouch. That is adorable. Hey, who are you? Epoch Wolf with a pouch. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so I want you to be like the world's worst handler. Okay?
I'm gonna go take video over here.
Not the world. Okay, so you're handling him. You're handling him, right? And you're out in an event, okay? And someone comes up to you. They go, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm sorry, I don't understand. What are you doing? Hey, what are you doing?
Well,
So what are you doing?
we're not perverts.
Yeah. Okay. So you.
I've seen Coggins video.
Yeah. So who has been in a situation before as a fursuiter where that's happened? Okay. I do other panels. I do panels on fursuit handling, and one of the things I drive home is if you are, and I'm so glad you talked about video. If you are a fursuit, if you want to be a fursuit handler, you should not have a camera. You should not have a camera phone, a phone, anything. Your job is to make sure that that person doesn't die. And if you're more interested in what's going on in your hand or what's going on behind the screen, you shouldn't be handling. Yeah.
Never take a media marketing person and ask him to be a handler. No. One of my friends went to a 5K with that guy as his only handler.
Oh, gosh.
I found out he was going, and on the day before, I'm like, no, I'm going there, and I'm being your handler. You are dumb. Sure enough, I left him with the guy for 5 minutes, and he was across the football field.
So, I mean, this is...
Here I am trying to wrangle two suitors on opposite ends.
This is a genuine problem. If you can speak in suit, and you can speak in suit articulately, you are going to save yourself in a lot of situations in a public. And the other thing is, it can help with character. I've actually done this. Why speak in a suit? It can help with your character. It can help with poor handling. It's easy to communicate with the public. And when done right, it can make you more engaging as a performer. Because there's only so much you can do as a mime artist. He's a good mime artist.
But
I can't mime. You do talk in suit sometimes.
But if I have to break character, I do have a voice.
Yes, and that helps. This is not his real voice, by the way.
Nope.
This is my real voice. Well, my real voice. Do you keep Petrosian? That's where I come from. We talk like that in Norfolk in England. We talk like that, and we just learn to talk like that. And if you don't understand what I'm doing, well, you can take my bike. So just like if you've got a regional accent and you learn to get rid of it, or you learn to modify your speech for like a public setting so that people can hear what you're doing, same is true for fursuiting. You can develop a character that's unique to, a voice that is unique to your character. All right. So there are some challenges to speaking in suits, right? Can anybody think of anything?
The muffledness.
Yep, the muffledness. Anybody else?
Because they're going to have one, if you have a moving jaw, trying to make the jaw move.
Right, yep. Anything else?
Actually being loud enough.
Yep. Anything else?
Limited movement of your actual jaw.
Yep.
Balaclava sliding up your face.
Right. I'm mic'd up for this, and I'm just conscious that. Okay. And hair. If you're a long-haired suitor, have you ever noticed how most female suitors have short hair? There's a reason for that. All right. So all that fur, balaclavas, all your hair, non-moving jaws. It's one that you guys haven't mentioned. More found in resin heads. Any resin head people here?
Not this one's foam.
But anything in a resin head that you tend to find more often in a resin head than a foam head, you put them in foam heads too.
I'm just going to take a guess at this. Trying to keep the head steady while you're speaking.
Not quite. Keeps you cool. It's designed to keep you cool, but it can cause problems with speech. Fans. You ever seen Sparky Can Do? The New Zealand YouTuber? Amazing suit, the saber. And there's been occasions where she's talked about, putting her tongue out and touching the fan. And if you're really engaged and you're really in character, do you want to sit down up here? You can if you want. And maybe we could grab some water for our suits.
I got water.
Oh, you got water? I got water too. Snorkel, do you want some water, babe?
I had 4 cups in there.
You had 4 cups. Don't pee. Did I mention the fur as well? Fur gets in the way. All right, so your voice versus your character voice. These are things, if you're really serious about developing a character for your, a voice for your fursuit. That's my phone going down my leg. I have padding in my hips and I have padding in my knees, and I'm not sure if it's actually in the padding or if it's just sliding down my leg. I might have to rescue this. Please excuse me. Yep, it's not in the padding. I thought it was. Hey, I've seen fursuiters do far worse in public, okay? So the first thing is, if you have your character, there are some people who just speak as themselves in suit, and there's nothing wrong with that. But frankly, it's a little bit boring. Because if you're speaking in suit, and you're talking in suit as your normal voice, then what you're doing essentially is you're saying, hey, this is my human voice, and this is my fursuit, which is either a representation of me as an animal, or it's a character that I've adopted, but I'm still going to talk in that voice. At that point, when people do that, I find that the voices tend to be quite flat. they're quite difficult to hear, and they're quite difficult to kind of get engaged with. Have you ever seen a fursuiter walk into a place and they're doing this? They walk in and they're just doing this. And you think, this person is really boring. They're just walking around in a fursuit, right? You've seen that? We've all seen that, right? And we've all been to fursuit panels where we learn if you're going to speak or walk as a certain character, you have to walk in that character. So if I did this, for example, you'd know pretty easily that this might be a Dutchy kind of appearance. It's kind of like this. Or Queenie walks with her shoulders back and she has this sway, which is very kind of, hello dear, lovely to see you. I absolutely adore what's going on in here. And so she has that character, but at the same point, if you're going to do a voice, make one up. I mean, you don't have to, but it makes such a difference. All right. The other reason why you might want to consider doing a separate voice is that it helps differentiate between you and the character. Another question time. Who here views their persona or their fursuit as an extension of who they are as a person? Okay. Who views it as somebody other than themselves? Like a character you get to be. You get to explore the world as that character, as that person. So it's fairly evenly split. But if you want to have that separation more, developing a voice can help separate you as a human and you as a fursuit, or you as a character. And I find that really helps. Now, it also helps for me, because I have two very distinct fursuits. I actually have multiple personas. I'm banned from getting more fursuits right now. My wife wants to buy a house. So, and we've got a daughter who has just entered into high school. So it's just kind of like, we've got to save the pennies. But I have different characters and they're very different. So Chimmy, I think I did Chimmy's voice earlier, didn't I? Hey, how's it going? Yeah. Yeah. He's this like really cool guy. He's like in his late 30s. He's really cool. He knows like everything. He got in trouble, ended up in prison. Someone like got him to go through a hole in a fence because he was a big fat fox, and it got in trouble. It was racial discrimination, man. Anyway, he did some time in prison, and he met this young girl before he went in there. She was really nice. Her name was Melody. And just before I was about to leave prison, I got a call from my mom. She said, guess what? I'm a grandmother. And my mom loves Mexican food, so chimichanga, taco is my brother, and then guac. I also have a brother called Guacamole. And she ran out of Mexican names, and then she kind of started on Creole. She named my daughter Jumba Frickin' Liar. Well, not Jumba Frickin' Liar, but Jambalaya. Anyway, that's Chimmy. He's a very different character to Queenie. And so having those two separate voices really helps. All right. Also, your character voice can help if you gender bend. Yay for gender bending. Who here has a suit or a fursona that is opposite to their identified gender? Yeah. Or they're assigned at birth sex, whichever way around it goes, okay? So, yay. That really helps because having that different voice can help you. All right, so developing your character's voice. Who doesn't have a voice here but is in a fursuit right now? Who's feeling brave and wants to come up on stage? Let's do it! Yeah! Woo! Round of applause, please! Come on up. Do you want to come up the steps? Yeah. So who do we have?
I'm Scout.
Scout. Okay. Scout! Exclamation mark.
Yes.
Scout. That's cool. Scout. Okay, so when you're developing a character voice with Scout, you have to think about, you might think, is this character old? Is this character young? Because that will affect your characterization, your voice that you're going to find.
Okay.
So, young?
Young, yeah. So I'm a stuffed animal, as you can probably tell.
That's
Talking
awesome.
plush sign. I don't know which side I'm showing.
That is
right
so,
now.
yeah, no, that's awesome.
And my kind of issue is I want to speak like really cute like this, but then that sounds so much more feminine, and both I and my character are more gender neutral.
Right?
So I'm
Okay.
not sure how to be cute well without being super feminine.
That is a really good idea. That's a really good question. So, male, female, gender fluid was what I put, or genderless, which I think is probably where you're going, right?
Yeah. But
And-
my actually just says gender cute.
Gender cute. I love that. I just realized that I've done this the wrong way around, but that's fine. So if you came along and you had this, hey, how's it going? That would just be totally wrong, right? So one of the things I do when I'm trying to think about a new character voice is I'm terrible. I tend to put other people's heads on and then a character just pops into my head. I know not everybody can do that, but one of the things you can do is to look at yourself in the mirror. And like, because you've like practiced moving in suit, right? It's just like practicing moving in suit. So who here has done that? Watched themselves in the mirror, figured out how their character goes. I have a video somewhere of me trying to figure out these things.
There's a reason I don't have those.
So I'm trans. I transitioned really fairly young in life. And so this is actually the normal pitch of my normal speaking voice, but I can get down there if I really want to, which is how Jimmy comes around, yeah. But for Queenie, I wanted her to be really super feminine. I wanted to have these big hips. So these hips came along. I've never had hips in my entire life. I'm like trying to figure out how these things work. And it took a while of videoing myself walking with friends. I went outside with some friends and said, hey, how does this work? How does this work? How does this work? The same is true for voices. So, if you want a high voice, generally I talk about extending your neck and looking like imagine that you're looking down onto the world and you're kind of, yeah, but it's just in your head. You just have to think about it in your head. So it's kind of like this, think of a phrase that you can say. Welcome to Anthrocon 2017.
Welcome to Anthrocon 2017.
Okay, and as you go, I want you to think down into your voice. Welcome to Anthrocon 2017.
Welcome to Anthrocon 2017.
Welcome to Anthrocon 2017.
I think I can get that low, but I'll
Go
try.
on, try.
Welcome to Anthrocon 2017.
So
No,
you
then I just sound like an 80s movie announcer.
That kind of dodgy sound.
Yeah.
And you can play with the sound. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to do when you're looking into character voice, is to think about how your character might voice, or if there's any sounds that you already make. So do you squeak?
I did, and then I annoyed the heck out of everyone, so I stopped doing that.
Yes. Okay, so think about how does your character move? What kind of neck movements do they make?
Just like cute ones like this. Like,
Oh,
like
so
that.
if I was doing a voice like that, I might think of something like, hi, how are you doing?
How are you doing?
But I'm not going into this, I'm not going right up here, I'm not going right up there. I'm kind of like, I'm talking in my normal voice, but I'm kind of thinking like squished. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Scout. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, hi Scout, how's it going?
Hi. nice to
Yeah.
meet you.
See, can you hear where that voice just popped out?
Actually, that was when I was little and I would like voice my stuffed animals talking to each other. That's the voice I used. I just
There
realized
you
that.
go.
That's perfect.
There you go.
Thank you so much for helping me with that
No.
one. I appreciate it.
So play with it. It will change. So Snorkel, can you give me your normal voice?
Yep.
This-
Hi. Snorkel here.
Snorkel doesn't have a particularly high voice.
Nope.
In fact, I think it was a couple of days ago, you're like, you got misgendered on the phone, right? Because I remember having that conversation about, dude, if I used to get misgendered on the phone and I loved it. But your speaking voice is a higher version, a higher, younger, more excited version of you.
Yep.
So just, yeah, see? And it just has that same kind of thing. Do you have a specific voice in suit? So,
I do not.
come stand up. So you are intimidating in a nice way.
Yeah.
You're kind of almost the same height as Peppa Coyote, aren't you? Have you stood next to him?
No.
You're about the same kind of, has anyone seen Pepper Coyote in suit?
I think so.
He's right up here. Okay.
Character's a bodyguard.
So she's a bodyguard?
She is.
She is?
Yeah.
So she's gonna, she has a particular accent. Where's she from?
Haven't figured that out.
Okay. So for some reason, I want to go to Russia.
Oh God, that would be perfect.
She's Russian, you know?
I can't do accents though.
Well, you have to just learn to do accents. You listen to other people do accents, and then you try and figure out which sounds are really important. And you have to talk to yourself in the shower. You have to talk to yourself when you're driving to work. You have to talk to yourself when you're at home and nobody's listening, you know? You have to make meal, and you make meal as Russian. And Russian meal make you. So you'll hear you chopping up sausage, right? You like Russian sausage? You're chopping up sausage in Russia, big sausage. You have big sausage, you eat big sausage. Chop up sausage, put it in pan, you know? Unless it's cold, and then you just eat it raw. Big men and women, they have raw sausage, yes. And you just play it, yeah, already, you've kind of got that kind of, and you see how already that idea of a big Russian has made you make, like, yeah. And it just clicks. So another one that pops into mind, again, I'm playing on stereotypes here, okay? Is anyone here play Overwatch? So the first thing that popped into my mind was Zarya, right? But are there any other characters that might come into mind, like when you think, like, the other thing, obviously, if you've got a pouch, are you a hybrid? You just have a pouch.
Female kangaroo.
Oh, female kangaroo. Why do you have wolf in your name then?
That's because this is a character.
Okay,
my
that's fine.
persona's a
I'm
wolf.
sorry. What's her name?
Chevron.
Chevron. Okay, that makes sense. So, okay, have you ever watched? This is going crazy out there now. Have you ever watched Tank Girl?
No.
Okay.
I have seen Rocky and Bullwinkle, and I immediately thought of the bad guys from that.
Yeah. So that same kind of thing. You could go down. You could go down under. You know. You'd be like, hey mate, stay away. I don't want you anywhere near this person. I don't like you, and you've got to get through me. You know. Come on. I have my Vegemite for breakfast, and you're not coming through. Okay. Terrible Australian accent.
Higher than the Russian one.
Yeah. So, and if you develop this character and you develop this accent, you have to listen to people speaking those accents all the time. And it's just about mimicking and learning to mimic and listen. Now, I'm a musician, so I am lucky. I'm able to pick up accents really quickly, and I'm able to switch between them really quickly. So yeah, you know, it's just a thing I do. I'm very lucky, dear. You know, that's one of my other characters. Her name's Morag. She's a Scottish lynx, you know. She's very sweet, she's wee. She serves on a starship, you know. She's a Scottish engineer. That's not stereotypical at all, is it? So think about playing those, about where your character comes from and what character traits and how that might influence the way you talk. All right. Now, how you talk is dependent on what type of suit you have. Your jaw doesn't move, does it? Which is one of the biggest challenges to being heard in a suit. You're not able to move your jaw. Can somebody, by the way, give me the time? I just want to make sure I'm doing okay. 11:33. Perfect, I'm spot on, great. So when you don't have a jaw that moves, you basically have to talk and project through. Now, the first thing I would say is, if you want to talk in suit, don't be doing this. The number of people I see who talk in suit with a balaclava over their head, over their mouth like this. You know, I can't freaking hear you, man. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear. I can't freaking hear you. You're like, just pull it down. If your balaclava is not like this, buy a balaclava that is like this. You can buy them. Some balaclavas are better than others. I like ones that just sit under my jaw because then my jaw moves as a consequence. So for you, are you using, I can see, oh wow. You are going to have a really tough time. Oh, you've got a fan.
Yep.
So you have to speak through the fan, and you have to speak much louder. So we'll come to that in a bit. It's to do with supporting from down here.
I did choir, so.
You did choir from down there. So if you are a singer, It's all about breathing down here, and that can help by just imagining that you're about to sit down. Imagine that you're going to sit down. Expand your back from here. Don't mind the water. By the way, this is my water pack. I don't have a hunchback. This is my water pack.
I am a rather brilliant surgeon. Fix the home.
This is the second time today that someone's waited for me to have water before saying something funny. Okay. So you have support if you open your back by pretending you're just about to sit down. You drop your shoulders. And when you breathe from down here in your tummy. And you imagine that you're just going, you're opening here. That opens everything, and it allows your diaphragm to drop. And then that allows you to support and push. And you can actually talk very loudly without actually shouting. I'm not shouting right now. I'm talking by using the support of my diaphragm. And if you're doing that in the head, you need to actually be able to speak quite loudly in order to get your voice to be heard. If your mouth does not move, your mouth doesn't move, does it?
No, I don't.
But you have a good sound coming out. If your mouth moves,
Maybe I thought it was always muffled because half the time people can't hear me.
yes, exactly. That's one of the biggest challenges. If you are in a suit like that does not have any moving mouth, you are, hello? You are in a world of hurt. I'm sorry. There's no nice way of putting it. All right.
So I have a moving jaw, but directly in front of my mouth is foam.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
it's still
So
an obstacle.
if you genuinely want to work, if you want to have a moving jaw, or you want to be able to talk, it's worth making sure that your suit supports that. So for that, do you guys want to sit down for a bit? Will you think on your Australian Vegemite munching bodybuilder? She's a former, how about this? She's a former bodyguard, Marine. Marine, yeah. Yeah. Well, I watched something recently with some really bad Australian voices in it, and I can't remember what it was. Anyway, so this is Queenie's jaw. This is all foam. I can put my entire hand in. And that helps. She also has a huge opening. You probably can't see it, but she has a huge opening for me to put my mouth in. Now, when I wanted a moving jaw, she said to my maker, I want a moving jaw. I went to her house. This is why I support. If you want to commission a fursuit, please consider commissioning a fursuit from someone locally to you, because if there's any issues while the suit is being made, you can go to their house and you can work through stuff with them. This suit is particularly complex. Her ref sheet is much worse than this. I mean, the more different marks. I'm supposed to have a couple of marks on my body that I don't have. We dropped them because we just wanted it to be much easier for me to wash and clean and stuff. And there's a little bit of airbrushing on her face, but that's it. But work with your maker, because then they can make a mouth that fits you. I literally went to her house. She put a balaclava on me. Then she glued on the foam. We got the thing working. She has an elastic jaw as well, which does help. So when I move, her mouth moves. Chimmy, my other suit, does not have any elastic, and it was a fluke that it just happened to fit my head. It was a surprise. I don't know if you've ever seen the video on YouTube about when your fursuit maker surprises you with a new head. That was me at a Comic-Con last year. She just basically, the head that I had was really bad, and she basically said to me that she would refurb the new head, the old head, and that this particular convention would be my last time with this head, and I turned up. She told me to take the head off and then presented me with a new one, which just so happened had a moving jaw that just is perfect for me. It was a fluke. All right. So resin, does everyone know the difference between foam and resin bases? Yeah, put your hands up if you're unfamiliar with that. Okay, I'll just do it from 50,000 foot view. Foam heads, there are several different techniques for foam heads, balaclava base, bucket base, whatever, plastic straps, whatever. They are mostly foam though. They are squishable. Yeah, okay, these guys are squishing their faces for me. I don't need to do it for them. They are completely squishable. You can put this in a carry-on bag and they'll be fine. Resin heads, do we have a resin head? Yes, we do. Come up here, my dear. So actually, if you stand here and you turn around, Bomber Fox, okay, step back, a bit more. All right, this is made of resin. This whole face, this whole head is made of resin, okay? It's hard. It doesn't bounce. But it's got great mouth movement. You see how much more articulation these things have? So can you just talk for me?
Hi.
Hi, there you go. And it has that much more movement. Thank you, you can go and sit back down. That's great. So resin heads are quite useful because they give you more movement, but you can still talk with foam heads. But like I said, talk to your maker. If you're wanting to commission a suit that you can talk in, talk to your maker. Don't wait until your head's finished and then go, oh yeah, I was thinking, can we have a moving jaw on that? Because they'll tell you to go away. Also, if you're commissioning a head and you want to be a talker, I advise against fans. You can still get away with it, but I advise against fans, especially if you are like me and you go into regularly do public suiting, either with limited handlers or no handlers. Don't do what I do. You need to be able to communicate. You also need to get things in and out of your body without breaking character. So not having a fan can be useful. If you are someone who goes around a convention all day in suit, by all means, have a fan. Or have it removable. Does your fan come out? Some fans do. Some fans can be removable, some cannot be. You're going to show me that you can drink with your suit and with your fan on now, aren't you?
Oh, I need one.
There's a hole in the bottom. Yeah.
Just fit it under?
Yep. There you go. Not everyone with heads can do that.
No, it was hard to find ones that actually would fit.
Yeah.
I specifically designed mine so I can just shove my whole paw up there if I need to. Like,
Yeah, I can. Queenie can swallow a lot. Let's put it like that. Sure.
On a fan, yeah, I think this is in its mouth, but what if you had it like on the side and actually blowing?
You could do that, but I mean, it adds extra space to the suit and other things. Most people put it in the nose. Most people I know put it in the nose.
Side fans have problems. They can get
Yeah.
clogged with fur.
Yeah. I wouldn't have a side fan. Also, it affects your hearing. Because if your fans are right there, you may not know this, but if you put something here on this jaw bone, you can hear it really loudly because it's all connected. You got a message. Or maybe it was me.
that may have been you.
That was me. Wow. Maybe that's someone going, oh my God, I'm in your panel. Thanks. All right, so where am I at? Oh, right, okay. I moved all the stuff around and now I've lost where I'm at. Okay, so that is where we are. And head position to being clearly heard. I'm going to do this in a slightly different position. So if you want to be heard properly, don't put your head down like this and speak through your suit like that. Because some suitors have to put their heads down to see. Oh, you found Rocket?
Hold a second.
He is adorable. He's my bae. Well, no. He's my bae. So when you put your head on, oh, this is really moist. Finding the elastic, hang on. That's the other thing. If you've got a head that's got elastic in, learn how to put the thing on. It's taken me 2 months to figure out how to get this head so that the jaw constantly moves. Oh, you are adorable. Now you're even more adorable because you're hiccuping. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh. I really love young fursuiters because as a gray muzzle and a former teacher and a mom, I think these guys are brilliant. The stuff that they do, a lot of them make their own suits. When us older suitors are like, no. It's just amazing. And their energy and their love for fursuiting and mascotting and just the furry world, whether they're artists, whether they're performers, whether they're storytellers, musicians, it just fills my heart with so much love and awe. So you rock. Okay, gotta put my head on now. Is that better, Brandon? Is my microphone okay? Where are you? Is it good? Yeah, looks good. All right, so that was me pulling the elastic so that it works properly. So you can see my mouth is moving now. Yes. A lot of fursuiters, when they are looking at the world, have to look at the world like this. They have to keep their head down. When you keep your head down to talk, you crush your vocal cords. You crush the space in your throat. And that means you get less air in. It also strains your neck and your vocal cords, and it makes it, it makes it harder to speak. So when you're speaking, you have to learn to keep your head up. It also helps with the character. So if I'm coming over and talking here, hello, how are you, dear?
Very fine, thank you.
I can't actually see you right now, but I'm having a conversation with you. And you know, sometimes I tip my head down so I can see the person's reaction. But most of the time, I'm keeping my head upright. I'm supporting from down here, and I'm making sure that the sound comes out in a direction that they can hear. And that really does help. I'm sorry I'm talking as Queenie, but when I put her head on, it kind of happens. If you do this, you're looking at the person. Hey, how is it going? Can you see that my mouth is not really moving as much anymore? Because my head is not designed to be used like this. Also, I'm putting strain on the back of my neck. I'm putting strain on my my neck muscles, and also on my throat. And it just makes it harder to be heard. So if you're speaking in suit, try and keep your head up. And be aware that the person that you're speaking to might not actually be able to see you. You might not be able to see them. I have a fairly decent, my blind spot is this big. So I can see there. So I've got pretty good vision. So I find that just keeping my head up and moving my head allows me to see a bit of the person. And you get used to the fact that you're not going to be able to see that person. If you move back, you can have a conversation with that person while keeping your head up. But it allows you to support. See if I can get up without falling over. All right. Body language to help up misunderstood words. I need a volunteer. You want to be my volunteer? Either of you? All right. Come over here. I'm gonna whisper a word to you both. All right. Come here. Can you hear that? Yeah. Okay. That's your misunderstood word. Okay. You're going to talk about your pet, coat, bullets in a note, and that's going to be a very confusing phrase. Did you get that?
Petticoat?
No.
Oh.
Okay. All right. So these two are going to, I'm hoping they're pretty good at improvisation. You're going to talk about something in a fairly flat tone with no body language at all. And you guys are going to listen and see if you can figure out what's going on. You're going to do it.
Anyone want to go ride on my goat? Anyone? Want to take a ride on my goat? No? Okay, fine. I mean, we're at Anthrocon, so no one wants to ride on my goat. No?
So now do an action for what the word was.
Anyone want to ride on my goat? Goat, like, you know, the little goat thingy, the ones that had the horns. Any goat here? No? 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 No?
So you're going to actually do a boat, okay? B-O-A-T, okay?
What am I going to say about it?
Just make up a phrase with, if you can, if you're happy doing that.
Okay, I'll have to think.
Okay, so did you hear goat originally and you were like, Did he really mean goat? Right?
I actually heard yacht the first time, and I was probably the closest person up here.
Okay. So body language does help a lot. If you come up and say, I have a pet goat, would you like to ride it? Then you're probably going to think I'm a little weird, but at the same point, you're going to go, I understood what she said. So you can change the phrasing so that you can be understood more clearly, but you can also change your body language. So Snorkel, second time round, mimed riding a goat, holding onto the horn, right? Now, I learned this, not at drama school. I learned this through my sister. This sister, who I'll tell you about in a second. If you didn't hear this at the beginning, I'll do this quickly. My sister, my eldest sister, is currently in her final weeks of life. She has terminal cancer. It was a relapse of breast cancer from 3 years ago that came back suddenly and has been so severe. It's taken over most of her spine, both her legs, her rib cage, her remaining breast, and it's making its way up to her head. She has weeks left, and she's deaf. She's actually a priest in the UK. She's deaf. She's been the most supportive, wonderful sister I could ever have asked for. She welcomed me with open arms when I came out of the closet when I was like in my late teens. She is the best supporter of LGBTQ rights. She is just the best advocate, the best ally. She's also the best furry ally. Last year, she was in my hometown, and she saw a pride parade, and she actually went out and seeked out the furries and got a photo with some of the fursuiters just to send to me, which was so sweet, and I love her lots. So I'm making this video at Anthrocon involving a heart, which is a symbol of the love that I want to give her, and just hugging the heart and hugging love and sending love. She asked me personally to make this video for her funeral because a lot of people there are going to be deaf, and she wants those deaf people to be able to see something visual. So that's what this is about. If I see you in suit later and I've got this and I'm followed around by the camera and you want to hug the suit, hug the suit and hug the heart, let me know. We'll make it happen. My sister's deaf, and so she lip reads. And sometimes there are certain phrases for deaf people that are really difficult to lip read because the mouth shape is the same. And the more complex the sentence becomes, the harder it is sometimes to be understood. Conversely, if it's too simple, they don't always pick up which word you mean. And so you have to think on the fly of different ways of saying the same thing, which is exactly what you did there, Snorkel, and it's why it got so easy. So thank you. Yay. Do you want to try your phrase? Like the first one, really flat, boring, like barely like your normal speaking voice, and then I want you to try it again with actions or some other way of differentiating what we're talking about.
Okay. I could use some help rowing my boat.
Did you hear that? But if you went, hey, I could use some help rowing my boat, or rowing, yeah, then it would make it so much easier, right? So if you're a fursuiter and you want to be heard and understood, body language can also help. And you can use body language to clear up misunderstood words, but you can also change your phrasing. So if you're going to say something, think about it first in your head. What is the easiest way that I can explain this so all the information gets across in one sentence or whatever? Also, speed of talking. I know that I speak fast. I know that I speak quickly because I have a YouTube channel and I have scripted. They're scripted shows. I write the script, I put it on a stand in front of my camera, and I read a teleprompt. And I've got really good at reading a teleprompter. And I just rattle it off quickly. And people go, wow, I can't understand what you're saying because you're talking so fast. So when I'm in suit, I have to remember to slow down, which is one of the reasons why Queenie is Queenie. Because all British posh people speak very slowly, dear. They don't have to rush because they don't have jobs. They have people to do it for them. Not allowed to call them slaves anymore, but plebeians will do. And so Queenie's voice is purposely slow. Chimmy's is purposely slow because he's just laid back and chill. Yeah, you want to go get a beer later? Yeah? Should we go? You leave your gun at home, okay? And it just helps if you speak a bit slower. All right, advanced techniques. I can't believe oh, microphones, because I did this the wrong way around. So you see that I have a microphone here? This is recording the thing. Yo.
I had a question about the words that you had them say. I know that there was goat and like rowing and boat.
Yes.
They all have the same vowel sound, and I was just wondering if that's a coincidence.
Yeah, I did that because I just wanted to. If you think of homophones, words that sound the same, yeah, they are often very easily confused. So I could have picked any vowel sound really, but the sounds get confused quite easily. Different words that have less consonants in them often get more muffled in a fursuit as well. But diction is very important, you know? If you're...
My 3 linguistics classes of experience.
Go on.
Explain why that's a problem. So a lot of languages use consonants to differentiate words more. So like there's entire writing systems where they just
Yes.
write the consonants. The problem is English uses vowels to differentiate words way more than a lot of languages. So we tend to listen for those like, okay, I heard OAT or that kind of vowel sound, and then you try to piece together what the first part is if you didn't hear it. So we tend to go a little bit more on vowels than a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. So we tend to go on vowels, and our brains make up things. So we don't always listen to entire sentences. It's like reading. We don't read individual letters. If the first letter and the last letter are the right ones, our brain does the rest. It's why I am such a sucky proofreader. I had an editor bawl me out multiple times once because he just said, Nikki, why do all of your posts have such stupid typos in them? Okay, well, because I wrote it, I proofread my own stuff, and I know what I meant. I'm a fast typist. I can put stuff on paper really quickly, but the odd letter might be wrong. But it's the same with hearing and speaking, which is why it's so important when we're speaking to make sure that we're heard properly. I'm actually working really hard right now to make sure that I finish my sounds, I start my words properly, I enunciate properly, and this is kind of just almost received pronunciation for a Brit, to make sure that you don't have any weird vowel droppings or whatever. Some languages, some accents are easily understood. If you have a southern drawl, you might struggle to be understood if you speak in suit with your southern drawl, unless you happen to be with somebody else who is also from the same area as you, in which case, be my guest. But also, and this brings actually a very important point up here for this girl. So I think I told you at the beginning, have I told you Queenie's backstory? She belonged to a guy called Lord Tolo, which is Spanish for fool, mid-19th century. She was his trusty companion. He was a bit of an idiot, and he didn't understand that border collies are not Labrador retrievers. And so he used to go hunting with her quite regularly. He was a widower, having lost his wife Christina many years earlier. Tragic circumstances, and I don't know what really happened there. Suffice to say that one day he went out shooting on his Scottish estate with Queenie. She got hit by a blunderbuss and pretty much died, straight through the heart. Tolo, being a scientific man of learning and expertise and a steampunk, took her back to his mansion, castle, whatever, and down into the laboratory, where I put in a deer's heart into Queenie's chest. I thought it would keep her alive. I didn't know it was going to make her immortal. Had to make a special little chamber just to put the heart in. So if you see any artwork of Queenie, she always has this heart chamber. She doesn't have it here, unfortunately. That made Queenie immortal. It made her super intelligent and a pain in everybody's side. And she has assumed this posh British accent. It's not her actual accent. She puts it on. Sometimes she's found out to be a fake. Sometimes she gets away with it. Americans love it because she's got this crazy British. I mean, what is it with you guys and British accents?
American.
What?
It's not American.
It's not American.
We're used to movies using British accents to tell us that a person is smart.
Yeah, but okay, this is the other thing. In American movies, we always play the freaking villains. I'm half Canadian. I have Native First Nations in my blood. So I guess I can kind of understand it, but yeah. Queenie is also inspired, her voice is inspired by lords and ladies of the manor that I have met over the years. My dad was a dairy herdsman. He was paid to look after cows, and we had a lord of the manor in the village where we lived, where I grew up. And he was very kind and very sweet and very eager, but he was a bit thick. One day after a fair, we were brushing up some straw that was left. And this gentleman, I know this is going out on the internet, so I'm not going to say his name, he came out and he said, Herbert, can I help you with that? And my dad said, yes, of course, my lord. You take the broom and brush the straw away. So he comes up and he starts pulling the straw towards him. And my dad said, no, my lord, the other way round, meaning push the straw away. I kid you not, I was there. He picked up the broom, twisted it 180 degrees so that the bristles were pointing upwards, and was then doing this with the back of the broom. I have met people like that, and Queenie is inspired by several people that I've met over the years. In what has been a pretty privileged time, you know, performing and stuff, I get to meet lords and ladies and posh people quite regularly, or it used to. So Queenie's daily voice is that that very posh, hello dear, what are you doing? Did you not learn to sit properly, dear? Well, you're Australian, dear, I don't expect any more of you. You know what? We sent all you criminals down under, and that's where we'd like you to stay, dear. So, oh God, these are really wet. Queenie's daily voice works at cons. Like, you're all laughing at her, right? You all think you're either laughing out of pity or nerves. I'm not sure which. But it makes me happy. So, when I go into I regularly go into kids' hospitals in the Portland area. I do a lot of charity suiting. There's a group that's being formed right now in the Portland, Oregon area. I'm not going to give its name because we haven't formed it properly yet. But it's basically Fursuiters going in to do fun things for kids, adults. We do car shows, charity events. This summer we've raised money for Animal Aid, which is a local animal shelter. We've gone to car shows that are raising money for vets, for military veterans, and we've helped out with Pride, and we also go into kids' hospitals like once a month. And I realized a couple of weeks ago when I took Queenie in for the first time, because before that I'd taken Chimmy in, that Queenie walking up to a young child in hospital and going, hello dear, how are you? Is kind of scary. She's an intimidating character. And I forgot to mention this earlier. So sometimes you have to have multiple characters, multiple voices for one suit. I'm going to walk down, I'm going to switch characters as I go down. So if I'm Queenie, I'm walking around saying, hello dear. Sorry, am I boring you? No. Good. Oh, look at that. Oh, I love that. That's adorable. Oh, yes, that's lovely, dear. I love her so much. She's so fun. Hi, my name's Chrissy. How are you today? Good? Oh, will you be my friend? Sure. Yay! So Chrissy is a secondary character that was developed because I needed something different for the same suit, and the performance and the voice change together. So Chrissy I go down a little bit more. She's much more playful. She drops her shoulders. She's not like that. Hi! And she moves her head like that, and she's got this really annoying voice. I think it's annoying, but children love it. You know, I go into kids' hospitals and I walk up to the kids and I go, "Hi. Oh my gosh, you're watching Paw Patrol? That's my favorite show!" And it works really well. You've got a Paw Patrol top on. That's awesome. So that was something that I forgot to mention earlier. Now let's talk about microphones. Who here has ever worked on stage with a microphone before? Oh gosh. Okay. So you know the basic premise of microphones, right? When you're talking into a microphone, you don't eat it like that, because otherwise you end up with popping. And in a world where overdriven audio is the norm, you can't do that, okay? So normally when you're talking in a microphone and the microphone's set up properly, you learn to speak into the microphone. You keep it at sensible distance away from your mouth. And you... Hi, honey, did you just take my head? Help me! Oh my goodness. Put me back on the table, dear. I might be hot and smelly, but I do need some air, dear. So when you're talking to a microphone, normally you keep your mouth, this kind of distance away from the microphone. You hold the microphone down. You don't do that because that changes the audio. Can you hear the difference, right? Right. Basic microphone stuff. I'm not going to go over microphone technique with you out of Fursuit because that's not the purpose of this panel. But the same is true if you are speaking in suit. So if you're speaking in suit, you don't really have a choice. You have to put the microphone in the head. I try and still move it down a little bit so that there's a lot of space between your mouth and the microphone. If your sound guys are worth their salt, they will adjust. They'll also tell you not to go near the microphone, near the speakers so you don't get feedback. Most PA systems these days are pretty good. Back in my day, when I were less, the microphones were not so good. They weren't so sensitive and we used to get feedback quite a lot. But these modern systems are generally much better. Now, obviously this is for handheld microphone. Handheld microphones and fursuits are not friends. In fact, if you watch the closing ceremony video for Furlandia 2017, we had Pepper Coyote come up on stage in suit, and he did this. He basically, the microphone was really sensitive, and he basically shoved it right in his mouth. Take it. Oh, I don't know how much further it'll go. And he talked right into it, and he was like, "Oh, this is really loud."
Can I say something about
Yeah.
that? Okay. I'm just going to project, okay? Okay? Okay. So I'm actually a performer, too. I've used my
Yes, he is. He's part of the, you're part of the, what are we called?
What?
What is our job title? Host team.
Host team.
Yeah, we're part of the host team for Furlandia.
I've grown up performing. So I was doing a gig in downtown Fort Worth once. Don't know if I've told you this story.
I think you
but
have, actually.
You always want to check your microphone. You see people tapping on them a little bit? You want to do that. Downtown Fort Worth, when I was performing down there, we were in a venue, and the night before, there was a heavy metal concert. Well, the people the next day, didn't know how to mix sound properly. You could see sparks jumping from the microphone to my lips the entire time I was singing. What do you think sparks would do if it was jumping inside your head? Yeah, so you always want to check.
That it's properly wired up.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it works. And obviously also, even in your head. So if you put that in and keep it at a sensible distance, and then move it in.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is a fairly good distance. Now if you move it right next to your mouth, can you hear the difference?
I'm almost right on
So don't just think you've just got to shove it in there, because it ain't going to work. And if you're feeling really careful, if you've got a big mouth, you can sometimes point it that way when inside your head. So you can point it to a cheek, and then you turn your head the other way. Because the idea, when you get the popping is what happens when you talk directly into the microphone and then you make a hard sound like a P. Okay? That is really uncomfortable. Yeah? So, but if you're doing regular fursuit performing and you're doing regular fursuit video work, I don't know, does anyone here vlog? Anyone here do YouTube videos? All right. Come on out. I like getting audience participation. Woo! All right, keep your head off for a second. Come on up. So, as a musician, and a video person, and a nerd, nerds. Who remembers that? Who remembers that film? Nerds. Some of you are too young to remember that film, so I'm not going to mention it by name. Also, it's not appropriate for under 18, so I'm not going to mention the name of that film. But you know what film I'm talking about. All right. If you are a regular YouTuber and you regularly perform and you regularly record, there are two good ways you can get sound. First, write a script, record your sound first, and then record yourself miming to the audio. Does anyone watch Furries in the Media?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with the wonderful, the lovely, the beautifully talented Abergwine. I adore her so much. I've done a collab with her before, Chimichanga Chats, episode 3. Episode 2 or 3 of Chimichanga Chat, Chimmy Chats, has me and her. I'm interviewing her. And she didn't use a microphone. She didn't pre-record that day, and you could tell the audio is very different. But normally she writes a script, she then records it 2 or 3 times, speaking into a microphone out of suit, and then she plays that audio back and mimes to it. That's a really good way of getting good sound on a budget when you're speaking and filming in suit, but it also means you don't talk in suit. So it's kind of not the purpose of this panel. But if you want to do what I do, who has seen Chimmy or me online? Anyone watched any of my videos? Good. Don't watch them. They're terrible. Go watch them. I expect to see my sub count go up by at least 50 by the end of the day. God, that sounds like something Majira would say. Sorry. Or Burger, yeah. I'm going to do a furry hangout later on with some of the YouTubers, so I'll have to apologize to them for that because I'll get back to them. I know that you're all spies. You tell them everything. Right, so if you're doing regular video work or stage work with a microphone, the best thing to have is this. Does anyone know what this is called?
A microphone.
For bonus credit, they used to be called lav mics. These are lav mics.
Tiny.
Yeah. And lav mics are designed, I've got one on here. It's all fuzzy. It's fuzzy, this one, so that me moving doesn't make too much noise. But lav mics are designed to help pick up the sound from your speaking, but none of the other stuff going on. And it helps you be really clear. Now, when you're on stage, you sometimes will have a headset mic, a boom mic, that comes around here. And sometimes they're contact mics, right, Snorkel? Do you want to do a bit on this, or do you want me to talk on that? You want me to talk on it. Sometimes you have like boom mics that go over your ear, and they connect here, and they'll pick up sound from your jaw. Sometimes they'll come right in front of you. There's no right or wrong microphone to use, but bear in mind that if you're working in your head, you don't have a lot of space. So unless you have a big head. So like, who is familiar with lemon brats? Okay, lemon brat heads are notoriously massive inside because they all have a zipper at the back. So if you wear glasses, lemon brat heads are great for you because there's a zipper at the back and they're just massive.
$1,000 for a partial.
They are very expensive. But then, I mean, these are what? These were, I can't remember how much she charges.
6?
No. I think she's 8 now. I think she's at 800 now for partials. But these don't have any room in them, which is how I like them, because it means you can move your head around. There's one thing I'm envious of with fursuiters that can turn their heads around. I can't do that in either of my suit heads. She just about do it with her, but Anyway, microphones. So you're going to mic up your head. So where's your head? Oh, you're going to get your heads? Go get your heads, both of you. Why not? Are you okay? You're sweating? You still alive?
Yes.
He lives in Arizona, so like this is just like a regular afternoon for him. It's like, whatever. Alrighty. I love your glasses.
Thanks.
So who is this?
Cotton candy.
Cotton Candy. Oh, yes, that's right. I remember you. I'm just trying to figure out a good way to put your mic on. Let's have a look at yours. Who do we have here?
Eclipse or new moon.
Eclipse or new moon. Oh, these are adorable. Okay, let's have a look at your head and your mouth. Okay, you're going to be the easiest one to mic up, so I'm going to leave you for a second. All right, so when you're miking up ahead, come here, I'm going to show you. Let's sit down here. Oh, gosh, that's comfortable. That's the tail. Come here. You can come stand and watch. So when you're miking up ahead, can you all see me? No? All right, I'm going to put my hand up here. Oh, okay, I'm going to stand up a little bit. So when you're miking up ahead, it's easier with a full suit than it is with a partial. You want to put your microphone in, and ideally find somewhere to attach your microphone on the jaw. Now, you can do it like this. You see here? Attaching it just there. Can you all see that? Do you want to show that around everybody? Just hold that like that, and then you can show everyone. Make sure they can see it. That's one way of doing it. If you go around the aisle, around the things, and everyone can see where the mic goes. In Queenie, see this little flap here, little cheek flap. I hide the microphone there. I clip the microphone there. So when I was working at Furlandia this year, I was mic'd up for most of the things I did. I had a really good headset, radio mic, and I had a really good microphone. Thanks to Furlandia, I couldn't afford that. And I clipped it on, and great sound. And if you're working with a radio mic and you are a full suiter, there are two places that you can store your radio mic. The first one is on your belt loop. The second one is on the top of your suit, just there. Can anybody think why the first solution is a bad one? Well, not so much the heat, but the moisture. I'm really hot right now.
I bet.
See all that moisture? That is not good for, oh God, that feels good. It's
Solutions for it, but it's all expensive.
yeah. So you don't want to put your mic in your bodysuit if you can. I know I've got my phone right down to my knee here. Generally, it's not so sweaty down there.
There's the old theater trick of just putting it in the condom.
Yes, yeah, that works. If it's a small enough transmitter. But also it means that if you're on stage for an extended period of time, so say you're at a Furcon and you're part of the stage team, we're both part of the host team. So we have a team at Furlandia of performers who know how to perform, who know how to improvise, and we just go out on stage with a skeleton idea of what we're going to do, and we just have at it. We don't have a script. So if you watch Furlandia's closing ceremonies this year, it was completely unscripted, which is why when somebody says to me in the audience, we asked for the video to be ready and it hadn't finished rendering, he was in the back room hitting his head against a desk because there was something going wrong with the computer. And I said, let's play the video, shall we? And someone comes back, Queenie, the video is not ready. And I'm, whoops. I'm just standing there thinking, what am I going to do next? And someone says, improvise. I said, my dear, I'm not going to improvise. If I improvise, things go wrong. Oh, hello. Hello, I saw you yesterday and fell in love with you yesterday. So, yeah, if you're improvising, if you're on stage a lot, you need to have your microphone and your pack accessible. Because if that thing goes wrong during a live performance, they need to be able to get to it. So for me, my neck ruff comes down to about here. And so it's just long enough to hide the pack. But work with individuals. If you're somebody who wears a bag, you could hide it in the bag. If you have a prop, you could hide it with your prop. There are multiple different ways. Some people can hide it in their sleeves. So be creative. Think of a way that you can hide your radio mic pack. Now, in terms of, I was going to suit yours up. Let's put yours up as well. So let's take this out. So did you know that was a good place to put a microphone?
No.
So I'm going to tell you why it's a good place to put a microphone right here. It's away from the direct stream from your mouth, but it's also close enough to your mouth to pick up good audio. So Let's take that one out. Let's see if we can make yours up. Thank you. Cotton candy, that was lovely. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do this one. So this one's easier because this one has a cheek flap. Yeah. You've got a little cheek flap just, oh, you got one just on this side. So I would actually, in this point, I'd actually clip it on pointing away from your mouth, almost so the microphone is on the outside. And you could play with it. Can you see the microphone there? You can play with the positioning. You can put it inside like that. But the idea is you want to get it so that it's not in the direct line of the air coming out of your mouth. If it's in the direct line of the air coming out of your mouth, you're going to get P's, T's, any other, what's the proper word for that? You're the linguist.
Plosives? Yeah.
Yes, plosives, thank you. You're not going to get those as much if you keep the microphone at the side. So that's the way to do it. Now, thank you very much. Routing cables. If you have a balaclava, who wears balaclavas in head? Or some other kind of, yeah. If you wear a balaclava in your head, it's super easy because you put it between your balaclava and the suit. Or you can sometimes wrap it up inside. And that, if your head is really small in the opening, Queenie's, oh God, where's she gone? Oh, there she is. I've been in suit way too long. It's 3 hours now we've been in suit. Getting that way. Queenie has a really tight aperture because the balaclava base is actually sewn around my jaw. So other people putting this on would probably stretch it. So I don't let people try Queenie on all that much because she's my special suit. But I have to actually put the microphone through the cable. I just dropped it.
It's on your shoulder.
That's, where? There you go. See, I can't see as much out of suit as I can in suit. So I do this. And I make sure that the cable goes away from my mouth because there's nothing worse than a microphone cable right here. It's happened to me before. So you pull the microphone cable through, you put it on your suit, and then you put your head on, and then you feed this down. Whoop! And then you remember that your suit is mic'd up because when you take your head off, remember, you have a microphone in. Now, microphones to buy. This is a Rode SmartLav. It is available, Amazon, other places, and it's designed specifically for smartphones. So this has got a TTRS, TTRS, a tip ring sleeve connection. So it's a four connectors on it, like a smartphone. So it works with a smartphone. If you don't record with a smartphone, you can just use a regular lav mic, but the quality of these is really good. When you're recording with your smartphone, make sure that your levels are set. I'm not going to go into that too much because there are plenty of videos online teaching you how to set your levels. But if you overdrive the input, it's going to be distorted. You're not going to get good sound. If you make sure that you don't peak too much, then you'll get a good sound. I also post-production edit my audio using Logic Pro. Again, I don't expect you guys to have some of the software I use because I use it. As a professional, I use it anyway. So I use this mic when I'm doing my YouTube videos. But I also use it when I'm doing my fun YouTube videos. So this whole thing is tax deductible for me. I love this. I get to write my fursuit off against my taxes. So where was I? I think that's pretty much it. I think I've covered everything. So how much time do we have left? Oh, advanced techniques. How much time do we have left? 12:23, had a few more. All right, so we got some Q&As quickly. I'm going to talk about ventriloquism next. I'm going to put the head back on. I'm not going to put the head back on. So your head, when you put your head on, and your head, if you've got a moving jaw, normally your jaw moves because your jaw moves with the head, okay? But if you want to talk to somebody and not be seen from a distance to have your head move, you can practice you can do it, right?
What?
You can talk without moving your jaw.
Yeah, probably.
So
Yeah.
you just basically,
I'm not enunciating.
you move your jaw in and you just kind of speak what we call sotto voce in the music world. It's kind of under your normal voice. It's almost like whispering. You don't move your jaw very much, and you can have that conversation. The final thing I'm going to talk to you about is talking with other fursuiters and being heard. So everybody, you 2 up, 3 up. Show me the correct placing if you're going to talk to another fursuiter and you don't want to be heard.
Don't want to be heard?
You don't want to be heard by anybody other than the fursuiter. Yeah, so you talk there. It looks kind of weird, but the other thing you can do... Oh, poop. The other thing you can do, if you watch fursuiters really closely, they do things like this. They'll come up and they'll go, hey, hug. Conversation happens, hey, how you doing? Just to let you know, there's a weird creeper over there you need to be aware of. You're laughing. Those conversations happen, right? So if you're having a conversation with another fursuiter, what?
Where was he?
Probably over there. He was wearing a lab coat. Older guy, lab coat, had a bottle of wine with him.
I'll confiscate that.
Probably doesn't have a liquor license. So that is a really great way of being heard. But also you can do some really fun tricks. I don't have my other suit with me, and I don't want to do it with snorkel. I don't want to put my head back on yet. But I can do ventriloquism with my suit and other suitors. Especially ones that don't have a moving jaw, and I have a moving jaw. Because I'll go, hello dear, lovely to see you today. Lovely enunciation. And then the person next to me, and I'll go, yeah, how you doing? And that other person sometimes knows that I'm going to do it. Sometimes they don't. It's a great trick, because nobody knows where to look. So that's something you can practice, just not by moving your jaw. And it generally means just keeping your jaw in, etc., etc. All right, so I think I've covered everything. Yep. Yeah. And the other thing you can do is actually hold your jaw.
Yeah.
So you can actually do this. Hey, how's it going?
I have paws that are big enough to fake what I'm doing, so
it's like,
I can just hold it and it just...
Oh, it's like I am going to put my head back on because I have to show you this. And then I've got some few minutes for questions. So we can do that. Oh my goodness.
Red on the inside.
It's lovely. Hello, Snorkel dear. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well.
Pineapples. Sorry, I do things like that. The other thing that, what was it I was going to show you? Gosh. No, oh yeah, nose things. Put my gloves on. So have you ever, this is just something I picked up for fursuiters. Who gets itchy noses in suit? God, it's the worst. I'm afraid it won't work for you. I am so sorry.
I can reach up here and scratch my nose. It's itchy.
If you don't want to break character, and you've got claws like this, what you do is this. You scratch the top of your nose while scratching the inside of your nose with your thumb. Nobody is the wiser. It works. Anyway, we have time for some questions now, dearies, I think. Do we have a few minutes for questions? Anybody got any questions? No questions? Was it that comprehensive? Jolly good. Well, thank you then. Thank you. Have you come up with your accent yet?
I have not. I need to do some practice.
You need some thank you very much. And thank you, my helpers who disappeared. That was lovely.